my video last week, you would have seen that I had the pleasure of using the Fujifilm X-T4 for the last couple of weeks, and Fujifilm sent me this lens along with it. It's the 16-55 XF F2.8 Zoom Lens, and it's an absolute monster of a lens. As you can see, it's pretty large and it definitely packs a punch. Okay, let's talk about the build quality. This lens is pretty large and it's definitely weighty. It's no lightweight lens, which does kind of go against the whole APS-C compact size camera thing, and it definitely does make this setup pretty front heavy. So if you're looking for something light, then this lens just isn't for you. However, there's good reason for it being that big and heavy. It's got a very high quality build, lots of metal used on the lens, which adds to the weight, but also makes the lens feel very premium and makes you feel like you're getting your money's worth. The front thread is 77mm. It's larger than most of my lenses at the moment. However, it's not excessively big that filters are going to cost you an extra fortune. When it comes to additional features on this lens, you're not going to be totally blown away. It doesn't have tons of buttons and switches on the lens. In fact, it doesn't have any at all. 3 rings on the lens. You have a manual clicked aperture ring. It's not declickable, so that is going to be a negative for your video shooters. The zoom ring is nice and wide and it has a rubber coating, which gives it a really premium feeling. It's got a pretty tight feeling to it, so you're not going to be accidentally moving it around, which I really like. Finally, the focus ring. The focus ring is fairly slim on this lens, and it is electronically controlled manual focus system, and it has a kind of plasticky feel. This is the lowest quality part of the lens for me, but it's also the one that most people will use the least, so I'm not all that bothered. With the beautiful weather that you can see out today, which is very unlike England, you would be forgiven for forgetting about weather sealing. However, the weather sealing on this lens is really, really good. It has a very significant weather sealing gasket, which gives you confidence to use this lens out in rain and dusty conditions. The lens barrel does extend, however, it's a very tight fitting lens barrel and it doesn't seem to give loads of gap for water and moisture to get in there. And judging by the rest of the build quality on this lens, I'd be confident in saying that the internals will be well protected. When it comes to the photo quality on this lens, it definitely doesn't disappoint. It has a very high quality image, it's very sharp, and the autofocus is very quick and quiet. I haven't noticed any sort of crazy barrel distortion or vignetting, which is always really positive to see. Overall, I've been really pleased with the photos I've been able to take with this lens, and I think that the range is really good. It actually gives you a tiny bit more range than the 24-70 does, with it going up to about 83mm. Overall, as a photography lens, it works really, really well. The clicked aperture is also really nice, it's satisfying, and it keeps your aperture in one place. And just like the photos, it's a similar story with video. The autofocus is very quick and, importantly, silent. You're not going to notice the autofocusing noise if you have a mic right on top of the camera, which is a massive pro. The lens produces a brilliant image for video, and it's a very high quality, sharp image. It doesn't falter in that area whatsoever. I've been really impressed with the video quality I've been able to take out of this camera. If you're interested in checking out the video quality using this lens, go check out my review of the Sony A7 Mark IV. That entire video is filmed with this lens and the X-T4. One negative for video shooters with this lens is the fact that the aperture ring is clicked and can't be unclicked. That means if you do want to change your aperture using this lens, unless you're in the auto mode, which means you can change it on the camera itself, you won't be able to get that smooth transition because it clicks. Manual focus on this lens is focused by wire, meaning it's controlled electronically, which can make it a little bit difficult to get those really accurate manual focus pulls. Overall, I think it's a decent lens for video, the main downside being that clicked aperture ring. However, if you don't really need to change your aperture while recording video and you can rely on the really solid autofocus system, then it's a really high quality lens for video. So overall, this is a lens which produces amazing results. It is heavy, it is built well, and it has that brilliant weather sealing, which I'm really impressed with. It's a fantastic lens for your overall day-to-day shooting. However, you may get a little bit worn out because of that added weight. The weight, along with no option to declick the aperture ring, I've got to say are the main disadvantages. It's a brilliant all-round lens, which I definitely recommend picking up for your Fujifilm camera if that's something that you're looking for. Currently the lens is retailing in the UK for about £980, but you may be able to find offers and different prices on your currency wherever you are in the world. It definitely has a premium feeling, and I'd say that it lives up to that price tag. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.